So this year on the mission trip to Sholo, I felt something that God was calling me to realize was that how we're all really similar on the inside. We all want the same things. We all want like love and affection and comfort, and it doesn't matter. Like, you can see a bunch of differences based on where you live or what you look like. People are all the same, and that they want that same kind of care. And maybe in addition to that is that we all face the same struggles too, because at Sholo and everything, it looks crazy, like impoverished in some places, and it kind of looks so different just from what you're used to. But then if you really take a closer look, you realize that it's really the exact same thing. You have people who face the same problems, and they face the same struggles between choosing to do the right thing or the wrong thing. And in both places, you see so much of choosing to do the wrong thing. So that's really what it is. And maybe something else that God taught me is that really life's moments come down to the moments where you decide to either do the right thing or the wrong thing, to either like love someone or be selfish. And so it's really, you see the beauty of God most is when you choose to do the loving thing and the selfless thing. And so that's what the mission trip taught me.
I remember one time I was working in the kitchen and I was talking to a kid and he mumbled, and I said, "What was that?" And he said, "Oh no, I was just talking to myself because I don't have any friends." And that made me see how some of these kids could feel really lonely. And I had to reassure him, "I'm your friend, God's your friend. Don't ever feel like you don't have a friend." And that made me have to try to understand how people live in Sholo and how people think that they have no hope, but when they really do. And that's something that God taught me, is that I have to understand and love others regardless of where they come from or how they feel, and I have to see others as God. And that was something I learned on the mission trip.
Hello everyone. For me, the mission trip this year was life-changing. My view of things has changed in a positive way. I have learned how to dedicate my time and money more to people, which is pretty significant compared to where I was before. I also learned how to love unconditionally without judging people by their appearance, but for example, like the kids, just playing with them first before judging them by if they had a missing sock or if they didn't wash their clothes or something, because they're really great. Their smiles were heart-lifting, and just their craving for wanting to have fun and wanting love was awesome. Generosity was also something I learned. One, for example, was in a conversation I had with one of the staff members. He told me all about his family, which was pretty cool. I learned a little bit of history. Yay, history! But other than that, I had an amazing time in the mission trip, and I'm ready for next year.
On the mission trip, I was the narrator of the story of the parable of lost sheep, and as the title of the narrator, I had to pray over the kids, and I was completely lost. Like, I didn't have any idea of how to pray over people because I've never prayed over anyone before. And it was really cool because I asked God to help me pray over the kids, and he basically spoke out of my words and told me what to say exactly. And so what I learned from that was that I can trust God no matter what, and no matter how big the problem is.
While I was on the mission trip, I learned that a lot of people take things for granted, and even though we have a bunch of stuff, like we have everything, we have nice houses, we have clothes to change into every day, lots and lots of stuff, and we expect stuff on a daily basis, whereas the kids that are in Sholo don't have as much as we do. They don't have nice houses. Some of them don't have both parents, and they don't have clean clothes always. One thing I saw while I was on the mission trip was when I was helping a little girl out. I took her shoes off because she wanted to skate, and she didn't have clean socks on. And that made me really understand how much we take things for granted and don't understand what it is to not have clean socks to change into every day.
Also on the mission trip, what I learned is how God can bring light into a dark place. In the Bible it says that the darkness can never exhaust the light, and that's something that has always been close to my heart, because even through darkness, light always shows. When we were all super tired and we were falling asleep on the bus, a lot of us just, sucked it up and gave 110% and pushed through. And it was cool to see the kid come out of us again and like messing around, and it was really awesome, and I had a lot of fun.
Well, one of the first things I learned, or one of the main things I learned from the mission trip, was that I really need to be more humble and patient. I remember going in, I was like, you know what, I'm third-year mission tripper, I kind of know what I'm doing, I kind of got it down. And of course, as mission trips are, you really don't understand anything until you're there. And so one of the main things I learned from all these kids was a little bit of patience and humility, which is a little bit interesting to learn from someone who's like 12 years younger than you. But I think one of the most important things that they all taught me was that I should go into every interaction and every conversation with someone with humility and patience, because everyone you meet has a little something to teach you. And even if they are 4 or even if they're 7, every single person that you meet is in fact an image bearer of God, and that they all have something that is worthwhile to learn from. So that's what I learned from my mission trip.
On the mission trip, I saw and learned that God has blessed me very much. I saw how all the kids have had hard lives, but still so many of them were still so happy. God taught me that I can help people with the gifts I've been given, and my favorite memory on the trip was when there was this little boy who kept trying to convince me that he needed help on the jungle gym, which he really didn't. So I helped him, and then he made me help him 5 more times before I finally realized he didn't need my help. But when I started to walk away, he jumped on my shoulders and just started to burst out laughing. His laugh was so cute that I started to laugh as well, and I saw the light of God through his laugh.
On this mission trip, I basically thought that I wasn't destined to go here, and I kept on thinking about all these excuses of why I shouldn't go on the mission trip. Like, of course, it was the week before my birthday, and my friends wanted to hang out with me, and they were basically selfish motives, and it was either choose to be selfish or choose to be selfless. And with the strength of God in me, like literally the strength of God in me, I chose to be selfless. And he helped me to bless all these kids on the mission trip, and these kids actually blessed me. And overall, I just really had to trust God, because there was a lot of obstacles in my way. That some came from school, some came from my family, some just came up out of nowhere. And through God's grace and mercy and through my faith in him, God has blessed me, and I'm here, and I'm so happy that I went, because it was a very life-changing experience. And I pray that if you have the opportunity to go, that you go, and you go in faith, because God will bless you.
This mission trip was very heart-moving because the kids taught me, in whatever circumstance they're in, they're always grateful and always have a smile on their face.
So initially, I wanted to go on the trip just to get out over spring break, do something, not stay cooped up at home. And I went there with selfish intentions, like mentioned, and I came back changed. I know a lot of people say that after different camps, and it's getting high on God, as some people phrase it, but I really came back changed, and the different things that I've learned I've been applying to my life since I've gotten back, and I've definitely seen a difference, and it's pretty drastic. I'm still hesitant to give like those little kids gave to me, and that's one thing I've learned, and after giving to those kids, it's a lot easier than I thought just to give my time, love, and energy, and it's actually really uplifting in comparison to just worrying about myself, and I think that's definitely a God thing.
On this mission trip, God taught me to always trust in him, because he has a plan for everyone, and to look at the bright side of everything. My favorite part was seeing the joy in all of the kids as they were playing and having fun.
When I was on the mission trip, I learned to expand my love to all these kids. I never seen kids so much with so much wildness and so much love for what they have. I never seen kids with so little but have so much love for everybody. And when I see on the mission trip and on the blue bus, their smiles like lit me up in my heart. And on the trip, my first day playing with the kids was on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. And I met a girl named Majestic. She was the most sweetest, adorablest, energy, full of energy girl I ever met in my life. She painted my nails, played with my hair, dressed me up, and basically she was like a little sister that I never had. Overall, I learned from Majestic
that just to be happy and hopeful, and that every time she sees the blue bus makes me happy because it has faith and hope in that bus, and just seeing all these kids run out from their homes, it's just like an excitement just like for God and just always to be in touch with them.
One of the many things I learned on the mission trip was that no matter what circumstances someone is going through or what they've gone through, they deserve God's love and they deserve to be in God's kingdom.